Hey YouTube friends, these are my African Sulcata tortoises. This is Jed and Jasper, and this one is Jasper, and this one is Jed. Jed used to be, this one here, used to be the bigger one. He was my first African Sulcata tortoise that I got, and then about a couple weeks later, about a week later, not even, I got Jasper. And they're cute. They usually do not go in water. They usually do not. But I thought they would enjoy this because it's kind of warm water, and they don't like, whoopsie, they're a little skittish. They don't like a lot of, oops, be careful, don't fall underneath there. They don't like a lot of quick movements or anything else. They're going to grow to be, this is my sink, and they're going to grow to be larger than my sink each. They get to be, I don't remember the pounds, but they can live to be up to 150 years old. And they eat, oh, there's a piece of newspaper floating in there. One of them brought that with them. And I thought maybe they needed to be cleaned off a little bit because they have some snacks on them. They eat a lot of, they like vegetables. That's what I mainly give them, vegetables. They don't really like I had a tortoise that would hibernate. He was a box turtle. Actually, he was a box turtle, not a tortoise. He would hibernate for a couple of months, and then he'd come out. His name was Jericho, so that's why I stuck with the J's. And I had him for, oh my goodness, I think 11 years before he passed away. And I don't know how old he was because my brother-in-law at the time found him on the side of the road, walking down the side of the road. So we have no idea how old he was, and they don't have growth spurts. They stay the same exact size. And he was about Jed's size here. Yeah, he was probably about the same size, except he was totally green and he was round. And he see, there's their feet. Isn't he cute? And he had a little mechanism on the bottom of underneath his head where he could pop into his shell and it would close. So when he wanted to, he'd pull in his feet and his legs and his head, and the shell would totally close from the bottom underneath his head, so you couldn't get into his shell. So it's a defense mechanism. And when he got scared, so he would do that because one of my cats, he would be walking across the kitchen floor, and one of my cats, Lily, at the time, loved to play with him. She would go get her little cat stance and wiggle her behind and go boom, and knock him across the kitchen floor, and he would go boom, 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 in a little circle across the kitchen floor, like boom, 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 like that. Poor Jericho. But that was their playtime, I guess, because then he'd come right back out of his shell and start walking across the kitchen floor again. And I always knew when he wanted to eat because he would sneak up behind me and touch my leg, scare the bejeebers out of me, and put his head up, because they look at you out of the side of their eyes, side of their heads, because their eyes, as you can see on, I'll get Jasper for a minute here, their eyes are on the sides of their heads. So you know they're not really carnivores, they're herbivores, because humans are really carnivores. Our heads are on the fronts of our heads. And he would give me that one eye look like, time to feed me. So I would, and then I'd put him in a, boy, they really were kind of dirty. I guess you could see this is not clear. This is not clear water. I'm gonna have to wash my hands. And I don't know where Jed's going to nowhere. So I would put him in a tub of water like this, and then he loved it. He'd sit and float and have a good time, and then actually he would go poo in the water. So then I would take him out, and I'd rinse him off, turn him out, take him out, and then I'd have to scrub the kitchen sink. So it was okay, because that was the one time he actually went into water, was after he ate. It was after he'd eat. And he loves strawberries, and once in a while I'd give him cat food, hard cat food. He liked that if it was small enough. And he sometimes would eat bologna, but mostly he was an herbivore. He ate mostly like lettuce and stuff like that. These guys strictly, they don't like bologna. I've tried it on them. They don't care for it. They don't like cat food. They eat mostly, they like iceberg lettuce, which has no nutrients in it whatsoever. It just gives them their fluid intake. But they have a bowl of water. So they like tomatoes, they like bananas, they'll tolerate bananas, they're not real keen on them. They like strawberries, but they mostly like lettuce, and they love kale, and kale's super good for you. Super good for humans, super good for them. They love arugula. When Jack Bear was growing arugula, we would just go out there, I would pull it off for them or cut it off, and they super liked it, and they're getting irritated. So I think it's time to take them out of the water, because it looks like they don't really care for it. But that's okay, because they're desert tortoises. They're not really supposed to be in water, and they don't really care for water. It's not that they're not supposed to be, it's not like they're going to disintegrate or melt. They're not like wicked witches or anything. They're going to be fine. I've never really put them in water before like this, and they're like, I don't know if I like this. So it's okay. It just, they needed a little bit of a cleaning, and this doesn't hurt them. So okay, I just thought I'd share them with you. And one more thing though, I did put dots on the back of them, and they've grown out of the dots. I put, with my nail polish, I put dots on them so that you could tell which one was which, and the dots have grown off of them, but I do know by their size which ones they are, because they've gotten so big. Alright, and they're not supposed to have these deep lumps in them. They don't get a lot of sunlight because it's really hot out here, or it's been really cold out here, and they're indoors a lot of the time, or they were underneath my canopy out in the back, which is right out here a lot of the time. So they need to get more vitamin D, which would be really good for them, but it's super hot right now. It's like 110, 113 or something like that, Jack Bear said yesterday. So I don't know. I can take them out like in the wee hours of the morning or something like that, but they can't stay out all day. They're diggers too. They like to dig, but they'll dig to China, so I don't want them to end up in another country. Alright, I'll talk to you later. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.